So anyway, tell us about YouTube, right? So what?
Hey, tell us about YouTube, right?
Do you remember like editing your first video and going like, what am I looking at? What were you on iMovie or what did you use?
Yeah, I was on iMovie,
Yeah.
I don't think you ever really master your craft. You always, even the best people, whatever they do, they always try to improve.
200,000 subscribers, 5 years ago? And now you're at 2 million.
Is that when it was? I've known you for 5 years.
Yeah. Could you imagine you went cold turkey? Imagine YouTube delete your channel tomorrow. Will you start again?
Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Josh.
And welcome back to the Breaking Bread podcast, where we fail to prepare, but we're more than prepared to fail. And fail gloriously, and hopefully you'll enjoy it along the way. How you doing this week, old buddy? You look a little bit...
It's cold, mate. It's cold.
It's cold. That's
Winter is here. Winter has come.
My really fleecy jumper, because I knew you wouldn't have put the heating on because, well, I mean, heating's expensive now,
It's
right?
expensive. Like, we've got to pick our time wisely. George was like, are you going somewhere? And I'm like, no, just going to use on for a little while.
Does look like a bit of a tactical outdoor, a bit of outerwear, you know, like you're going to go on some kind of...
It's an all-purpose jacket, this. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for like burglaries or if you go into a pub. Like, you could do either of them.
Burglaries or go into the pub.
Yeah,
That's
or
the
both.
spectrum, isn't it?
Or both. You know?
One after the other, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. How are you, mate? How's tricks?
Yeah, I'm all right. Feels like it's not been that long since we last saw one another.
This weekend, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's because I think I've erased it from my memory.
We almost spent a few nights together, which is a funny story, I guess. Because I almost had him, you know, George. I almost had him.
Oh, we did. You talking about the
gig?
Oh, thank God!
So get this, ladies and gentlemen, right? I almost had him. I bought some tickets last year to Machine Gun Kelly, who done his tour, right? They were coming to Leeds, and I forgot when the actual gig was. I thought it was next year, and the tickets landed in my inbox at the beginning of last week. So, in my infinite wisdom, I'd not considered who I was going to go with. I just bought the tickets. I'm like, somebody will go. I'll figure it out. And I messaged Adam and said, "Oh, do you fancy going to a gig this week on Thursday?" And you're just back from your trip, aren't you? And he said, "Oh, I don't know if I can. Lindsay might want me to be at home." And then I'm like, "Come on, we'll have a couple of beers. It'd be a good night." And he went, "All right, on your head be it." Then let's say 5 minutes passed, and he went, "Who we have to see?" So I went, "Oh, don't worry about it, mate. Like, it'll be a nice surprise." And to my surprise, you actually you just left it at that.
I was suspicious, right? The details were too vague that I knew something was afoot. And originally I thought, because George, our producer over there, he does lots of gigs, right? He's a real musician. So I thought maybe Josh was teaming up to go, because we keep saying we're going to go support George, and we just never do.
We've never once watched him play.
So I thought it might be that. But then the more I thought about it, I thought, well, why would he not just say, should we go see George? I'm more likely to say yes than to just a band I don't know.
Yeah, and I thought
he was trying to team me up.
Yeah, because I thought it were hilarious that you didn't ask. I'm like, right, this is on, get him on, isn't it? And then we recorded last week, and let's say we recorded on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. You went, "Oh, who we have to see again?" And I didn't even panic. I just went, "Oh, it's just some like pop punk cover band, mate," you know. And you literally took it. You went, "All right," and I'm thinking, you're asking far few questions for this actually to work.
I'm normally in a very good mood when I get back from a little trip like that, so that's probably why.
And then it was the day of, wasn't it? So I'd got up early on the Thursday to go do a job with George, and I had this guilt just pour over me, and I thought, I better tell him because I don't know which way you're going to take it. So I sent you a voice note. I said, "Look, I'm being honest, mate. This we're going to be," because what we'd said was we were going to go have some beers beforehand, and you said, "I'm not going to have any beers. I'll drive." And I thought, it's less funny now. So if we'd have had a skinful, I'd have gone, all right, that'd have been quite funny. We could have taken you up to the arena. But no, I told you, and you were like, basically, am I fuck going to a Machine Gun Kelly?
There's not a cat in hell's chance you're going to catch me anywhere near even a Machine Gun Kelly song. If a song was just playing on the sound system in a bar, I would probably leave the bar on because of that. So there's no way I couldn't be seen dead at a Machine Gun Kelly gig. Come on now. Somebody's going to recognise me there at least.
So anyway, we met Joe. So Joe did the branding for the coffee, and he was down, he's into. I think he'll go to any gig, to be fair. So me and Joe we had a blast of a night. But get this, mate, right? So I'm walking into the arena, and I hear Josh. So I'm like, what the fuck's that? Josh. So I turn round, and this guy's smiling, grinning, and I'm thinking, I don't know him, but I might know him because I've got a terrible memory. Did I go to school with him? Like people change, don't they? I've been at school for 10 years now. So then I smiled back because I'm thinking, shit, I must know him.
Pretend like I know.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, mate. And he's like, I fucking love your podcast. I went, what? He goes, can I have a picture? I said, fuck off. I literally said, fuck off. He goes, can I have a picture? I fucking love it. I went, this is the first time I've ever been asked for a picture. This is so weird. It's like,
but you loved it, didn't you?
He's like, I thought, I've heard you talk about Machine Gun Kelly before, and I thought, I wonder if he's going to be there. And you're here. So he'd gone to that thing thinking, I might see Josh from the podcast, and it happened. So what a weird thing. He had a picture. I reshared it. James, thanks for the support. I was gobsmacked. I honestly thought it was somebody I went to school with, or somebody that I pissed off.
Oh,
so.
that's nice. I bet you enjoyed that, didn't you? Deep down. It's nice that other people listen / watch the podcast or listen to the podcast. And see you at somewhere like a Machine Gun Kelly gig.
It's weird, isn't it? Because we're like, apart from the Machine Gun Kelly part, we never see the audience. That's the weirdest thing. We just turn up and talk in a room with the three of us every week. We never see these people. So that's what'll be even more weird, I think, when we do the live show.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
The time has finally come. We're taking this show on the road. For one night only, BeardMeatsFood and myself are doing a live podcast at the Everyman Cinema in Leeds. The event will take place on the 28th of October at 8 p.m. We're going to have a couple of special guests, some interactive games that you can get involved in, and make sure you turn up with an empty stomach. You may need it. The ticket will grant you access to the show and to the official meet and greet afterwards. So even if the show's shit, you get to meet the little man himself. Tickets are available at breakingbreadpod.com or click the link below. We can't wait to see you there. Now on with this week's podcast.
I'm looking forward to that element of it though, meeting because there's like a little meet and greet thing afterwards, right?
Yeah, full meet and greet. So like, obviously, everyone
full meet and greet. Is there such thing as a half meet and greet?
Everyone's part of the meet and greet. So we've made it so that after the gig, the bar is ours for everybody to sort of.
You picking up the tab, yeah?
You're doing all right. I saw a comment actually yesterday on the podcast saying Adam's a billionaire. Somebody said Adam's a billionaire now.
I'm joking. It's not a free bar. Sorry, but that we do have the bar apparently.
I can confirm though the as part of the ticket price, there's like a £5 voucher towards food and drinks anyway.
That almost makes it worth.
Yeah,
so it's almost like it's a 20 quid ticket then, not 25 quid.
So like it becomes more like worthwhile. And as a bit of an exclusive as well, we can confirm that Mrs. Beard is going to be there and part of the gig, which I'm surprised you've agreed to, but that's a confirmation.
I didn't really agree to. I was strong-armed into it.
Yeah, you didn't really. And also, Sister Beard, as soon as we announced that this was a thing.
She's not part of it though. She just wanted to come and watch and see me squirm.
Sister Beard started dropping the DMs in like, get us some tickets. Adam won't let us come.
She never comes to visit me at my house, but as soon as I'm doing like something which could potentially be embarrassing, she's like, oh, let me come and see it. So, yeah, the full squad's going to be out. As long as my mum doesn't turn up, I'm happy.
I've just been texting your nan. She's wild, that lady. And then this weekend as well, we went to an MMA event. Went to your first
that was
mixed martial arts event.
That was eye-opening.
It was
eye-watering as well.
Nostril opening.
Eye-watering. That fucking smell at the not the last fight, second to last fight.
Yeah.
That was a tactical. I'll tell the story real quick. We were sat ringside at the end, weren't we, for the most of the big fights?
Yeah. So Connor, who runs the show, BMF Fight Night, he came and dragged us out of the crowd, didn't he, and said, we've got you some seats. And it was quite literally ringside. We could have been scoring, like we could have been judges. We were that close.
I mean, I wouldn't have been at scoring because half the time I don't know what's going on. But there was a strong scent in the air, and I kind of turned to George and I was like, "Is that you? Is that you, dude? You forget to wash this morning or something?" But it turns out it's an oft used tactic by some of the fighters that they just don't bathe for like 3 weeks before they fight.
Oh my god!
And if I had been the opponent, that would have had some effect on me because it takes a lot for me to start feeling ill. But that scent was something.
You can't even explain how potent that smell of body odor was. It's got to be weeks of.
That's commitment to his art, though. If you think it's just going to give me an advantage, I'll just go in there purely honking.
I remember Danny Mitchell telling us about this, and he fought somebody. He might have even fought that guy, back in the day, because that guy he'd been around a while. And he said that somebody had done that to him before, where they'd not had a bath for 2 weeks, fought him, and even for days afterwards, he was still washing that smell off. Can you imagine the smell of it under your fingernails and just like that body odor and sweat? And
but I like the fact that that's like, but that could be. You could say it's tantamount to cheating, but if you can bend the rules a little bit, because you told me like if somebody throws up in the ring, then they lose.
Yeah, I didn't. So Brian Lacey taught me that. Apparently, if you lose control of any bodily function, so if you throw up, like shit yourself, any of that is a DQ, which I never knew. Because obviously, if you take a nut kick, you get kicked in bollocks, and you go down and you throw up, like you're out. You know.
Yeah, so it's a valid tactic, I guess. But yeah, that was quite something, that event. But I enjoyed the spectacle of the combat and whatnot. Barnsley Metrodome is an interesting place.
It looks really nice though, to be fair, didn't it? Like the actual
event,
arena,
yeah. They put on a good show. So I thought you were pretty much taking me to a working men's club. There was going to be like a cage in the back, and it was just going to be people fighting. But it was actually a full-on light show and everything, big screen, entrances. The entrance music was shocking though. Do you remember, George? I think there's one person that had a good.
I was expecting a lot of rock and metal, but it was all just like.
I think we had Thunderstruck 4 times.
I did like there was the Scottish dude. I forget his name. The Scottish kickboxer who was like a big champ, and he brought 50 people with him and lost. He came out to the song by Dropkick Murphys. It's called "Shipping Up to Boston," which is a cool tune. But it was he'd obviously had it made because the original is Dropkick Murphys are like an Irish. They're not really Irish, but they're like a pretend Irish band. And they have like these. It's like it's a rock song, right? But it has Celtic overtones and stuff. But he had the song remade, I think, with bagpipes to make it Scottish.
Oh, nice.
And I thought that was cool. But
that kid were a fucking wizard when he came out. So the first round, he beat the fuck out of the opponent for the first round. And I turned to you, didn't I? And you were like, what is this?
I'd put my house on him.
Yeah, because he were doing spinning kicks. He went all out on that first round.
Like he was mashing the button on Street Fighter.
Yeah. And the other guy that we were fighting, I've seen him fight before. I forget his name. He was just sort of like holding up, you know, like just blocking. And I said, this could be like rumbling the jungle style.
Rope-a-dope.
I said, I was like, rumble in the jungle is just going to hold back, let him gas out, and then kick fuck out of him. And sure enough, where's that swear jar? I
think we're already £5 deep.
I've completely 180'd on what I said before about swearing, because I've seen the comments come back going, nah, basically fuck them, carry on as you were, boys, as you were. Anyway, this dude comes back, wins the fight in spectacular fashion. Them leg kicks, mate. He leg kicked him to death, didn't he?
I've never heard anything. As somebody who's not really I'm a casual, what they would call a combat sports casual, right? I can appreciate the art of it and whatnot, but I've never heard anything like that in my life. Just bear in mind that was like the 5th round, I think. It was a 5-rounder, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So they look a bit knackered by that point, and this dude just pulls out a bunch of these kicks that sound like shotguns going off. Like I've never heard anything as sickening in my life. And the poor kid that he hit with like 4 of them in the same place in about 10 seconds. He got like the count, didn't he? Like I've never seen a standing 8 count or whatever.
Yeah, he went to 10 and that was it.
For something that's he'd not been knocked down. He was just looked severely hurt, and I think I had to carry him out of the ring. Poor kid.
Yeah, with good night, good fights. There were again your face when that dude got slammed to the canvas.
Oh yeah, man.
Because we were feet away from it, and it was like from the shoulders, boom. And you and George were both like this.
Yeah, George and I, we're lovers, not fighters, you know. So to see that kind of violence up close and personal was.
We're not lovers with each other, just to clarify.
Oh, what?
I'll weigh you down eventually, George. Don't you worry. But yeah, no, it was. I enjoyed it. Largely speaking, I'd like to. I said to you, do you think we could hit up our mate Paddy the Bad and get some free tickets? Probably not, because we keep slagging him off every week. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure when you were fighting last time, you said that you wanted to see him get beat.
So yeah, but only as part, a little bit of banter, right? I thought I wanted the hype train to end a little bit, because everyone needs, but for his benefit, because everyone needs that kind of that beat down to then make the comeback, and
what to prove is going to be there. I'm going to prove BeardMeatsFood wrong.
Well, no, that guy. Just to prove that you can deal with adversity. Not that I'm saying he's fighting bums, chumps, or whatever boxing languages, but no, I thought it'd be good to see a bit of adversity and not him winning everything.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from.
That's just my angle, yeah.
Well, we'll start this podcast as we'd start most podcasts. This is the starting point. We'll start with a YouTube comment.
It's time for a YouTube comment from you.
All right, so an honourable mention for YouTube comments is not actually a YouTube comment to start with. We have got one. This is actually a Facebook comment. Now, recently I've learned how to comment on Beard's stuff from my public page, which has been very entertaining because that means that not only can I troll you on Instagram, I can actually take the piss out of you on Facebook as well. But you got a comment on one of your recent videos. So you upload your native video, like your YouTube video 1 week. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at a different comment.
All right, we'll use that in a second. You upload a YouTube video as a link, don't you? Like on Sundays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, you upload it natively to Facebook so they can watch the video. So
on a Tuesday, yeah. So the people that of which there are many, don't want to go to YouTube for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They can watch it just on Facebook. Those people do exist. Yeah.
So you got a comment from a dude called Milderas Scooger, which maybe I probably butchered that name a little bit. And he said, "Breakfast again. Breakfast again starts getting bored of it." So that's a horrendous sentence by any stretch of the imagination.
Bored spelled B-O-A-R-D.
Yeah. So you commented back saying, Mildaras, I think you mean bored, and you've obviously spelled it correct. Fear not, I've attached an image with instruction on how you can quickly solve the problem you're having. All the best to the little okay. And like, George, show it. And it's basically Beard saying, this is how you unfollow from my page.
It's a screenshot of, I actually unfollowed myself in the process to see if I could do that. It's just a screenshot of how you can unfollow. If you don't like it, I like move on. I don't get that whole logic. Like there's a lot of shit I see on Facebook that I don't like. So I very rarely use Facebook personally. But if I see anything on any platform and I don't like it to the point that it irritates me, I'll just like silence it. Or there's always a way to just stop it. So I wouldn't mind, but I think it'd been like a month since the last breakfast one as well. And there are I can only do what's out there. Like there are lots of breakfast challenges and it's a different story every time. Believe you me, you're not the one that has to eat it. I've got to eat this fucking breakfast every time. But,
so you had, at this point, you had 246 reactions on it, so laughing and liking. And then obviously you basically ordered 66, this fool. So
what's it now? Is he been buried?
Fuck knows, it probably has been buried. But as I said, I learned how to then comment from my public page because I thought I could be like super troll. So I supported him. I said, yeah, fuck you, Beard. I was like, fuck you, Beard. We're dead bored of these fucking breakfast challenges. Can you not do something new like a burger or something? Obviously, a bit of satire there for you.
Yeah.
To which somebody then replied, which you found hilarious. Do you want to read that comment out?
Yeah. What you also attached was a heavily... It gets worse every time. Like you made me even short. You made me look like about 2 feet tall and you're like...
Oh yeah, because I said, go find yourself a new co-host for the podcast. And I shrunk him even further so that he's basically got this miniature human stood next to me.
Yeah, and somebody said, Devon Utenwerde said, maybe you and Josh Gudgeon shut the hell up and leave other people alone if you don't like to watch this stuff. Then fuck off and make your own. I mean, his heart was in the right place, Devon. But yeah, that was it was satire from Josh. We know each other, right?
But it's forgivable. Fair play. Backed you up, didn't it? The Beard Army came out.
I almost think those are almost as bad. Like I want to just make that one comment. And I very rarely comment. If somebody leaves a negative comment, it's very rare.
Yeah.
But it's just if I'm in a bit of a mischievous mood, and I think they need to be schooled a bit. Like, just move on with it. I'm hoping I'm helping this guy because he doesn't waste his time now when he sees shit he doesn't like. You can just move on. Just move on. Go do some knitting. Go watch a bit of Bob Ross, chill out, have some chamomile tea, something like that. Just don't waste your time commenting on stuff that's not going to change anything.
What were you laughing at, mate?
I was laughing at somebody called Bacon on the last episode of the podcast said, Beard, I love you, man, but you got to cut back on the caffeine. It would help you stuttering during these podcasts. Great podcast, and I wish the best for you all. No, I just naturally stutter. Like I case in point, right? Because oftentimes stream of consciousness, I don't want to just leave dead air, so I'll be like, do you remember that time? Yeah, it's just natural. I'm like, what was that? That Warner Brothers character used to do it.
I remember Granville from Open All Hours.
Him too.
We'll use that.
I don't actually drink that much caffeine.
He says as he's necking his third coffee.
Fourth coffee of the day. I need it at this time of day, man, to put up with this shit. But
just for those that listen, this is at 11 a.m. It's not like we're doing it at 6 bells.
Yeah, I didn't sleep. I'm in pain, so I didn't sleep until about 3 a.m. last night. So this is still pretty early.
This YouTube comment section is dragging on a bit. We've got another one for you as well. So this one's from Tandy Miller. He said, you fellas should do more joint challenges on Adam's channel to help promote this podcast. I'm perplexed as to how you have only 13.7 thousand subscribers still. This show is great. Been following since day one. Keep it up with like a smiley face and a thumbs up.
No, I'm perplexed that we have 13,000 flag. I don't know why we have, but I do. You come on the. I mean, I don't really talk about the podcast, but you come on my channel now and then.
Yeah, I've been on
when
a
I
couple of
grant
times.
when I grant you access.
Access, of which there's no gain for me whatsoever. I just have to turn up and then.
There would be if you uploaded videos more often.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so I uploaded. We spoke about it last week. So I uploaded a vlog that I did at Octagon MMA. So that was produced for them. So we got access to a lot of footage, like pay-per-view, and then I said to them, I'll upload it on my channel because it'll help, like. It works both ways. So I uploaded
400 subscribers will go to Octagon.
Mate, I need to adjust my my plaque. That should say 93,000 to go now. So that would have been the third upload of the year for me. And within 6 hours, it got pulled on copyright because I was using pay-per-view footage, which I can. What would you call it? Like
you could dispute it.
I could dispute it.
You could resolve the claim, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's oftentimes not worth it.
Yeah,
really.
I can't be chewed now. So we're having two videos on my channel this year, but maybe next year we'll make a comeback, George. What do you reckon?
I'm all for it.
Yeah, you're down for it. All right. So that's the YouTube comment section over and out. Tandy, thanks for the love, man. Thanks for the support since day one. We do appreciate it. We do read the comments, as we say.
Thanks to everyone, positive and negative, because if nothing else, it gives us stuff to talk about.
And we are genuinely perplexed that there's 13,000+ subscribers on this channel. That's pretty wild, isn't it?
Oh, I better stop drinking that coffee as well. I might stutter.
George, what you got planned for us today, son?
Thought we'd talk about the reality of being a YouTuber.
Oh yeah, this follows on nicely from last week actually, because I sort of, I feigned that I do care about you somewhat when I said, "What's it like having the weight of 2 million subscribers on your shoulders?"
Yeah,
Which
you
you gave
did,
a pretty genuine answer, and I think that's what spurred on this conversation as to what it is to be a YouTube creator in your shoes, in your little tiny kid-sized shoes.
What size shoes do you think I am? I wear
3.5.
very funny, George.
I'd say maybe 6.
Fuck it, what's wrong with you people? I'm at an 8.5, shading a 9.
That's my size.
Your normal person size,
That's
because you're
not
like
right.
an inch taller than me. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
He's lying.
He's taking it personally. Yeah. Calm down, little guy. You all right?
Do you
want a hug?
You need a new running joke.
I'm never letting this go, ever, even if there's a fire. Right. Let's get into it then. So let's go back to, we've actually covered this on episode 2. I think we said
I feel like we've covered
we have covered it somewhat, but for the new subscribers, it's not quite. Episode 2 is like how to become a YouTuber. I believe it was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Whereas this is all about you, Adam, because me and George looked at each other and thought, what does Adam like to do more than anything? And it was talk about himself.
Come off it, man.
We,
I wanted to do, what was the other topic you came up with?
So we're gonna like a confession. There's a Twitter account called
Confessions of-
Festhole.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
I know, we could do a blast.
I was looking forward to that, and then Josh came up with something serious.
No, this was just
George came up with something
yeah,
serious.
we thought. Anyway, tell us about YouTube, right? So what?
Hey, tell us about YouTube, right? What's it like?
Tell me what it's like to be a millionaire YouTuber.
I don't know. I know what it's like to be a YouTuber. I can give you the second
Sorry,
part
I mean
of that.
2 million subscriber.
What's it like?
Yeah.
It's all right, yeah?
Is it heavy? Is it heavy on you? Does it keep you up at night?
Do you want me to be serious? Or
I do. I want you to be a little bit serious. You're not heavy, but genuinely, what's it like?
It doesn't keep you up at night. I'm always up at night anyway because I find it hard to switch off. But I'm incredibly fortunate. First of all, people are like, you got to say that. That's a cheesy part out of the way. But I am very fortunate. But yeah, it's hard work. Of course it is, because not necessarily. I mean, the actual physical work of it is hard. Not in the same way that somebody that works down a mine works hard, but it's intensive. Especially anything that's creative is hard mentally to keep churning out. Especially at a rate of 2 videos a week. I've been doing for 7 years now. But yeah, I think that for me, especially now, the most difficult thing is the weight of expectations. Because if you think about 2 million people, and especially when 1 million of those are watching almost every video, that's a lot of. You can kind of get lost in the numbers, but to me, I think that's 1 million people who are waiting for the next video, and that next video has to be entertaining.
Didn't you say that sort of last month, Channel 5, so like a major sort of broadcasting channel, had something like 50 million views?
It was like 40. Yeah, no, the comparison I was talking about, which is it's not a fair comparison because I have an international audience, not just a domestic one.
Yeah.
But I read some statistic that the reach, again, reach and views are not the same thing, but the reach of Channel 5 was something like 41 or 42 million in a month.
Yeah.
And my channel was had 38 million views last month, or 39, which is an exceptional month. It wouldn't normally be that high.
Yeah.
But when you put that into perspective, even though the comparison is not strictly fair, how many people work at Channel 5 and all the people that go into making those shows? and I'm just one dude with a camera, you know. And it's I think up to a certain level, you kind of just forget people that are watching.
Yeah.
But now, for me, for whatever reason, it's kind of dawned on me, and I'm thinking, well, every video has to be exceptional, which is why I mentioned last week, didn't I, that I tanked so many videos this year that I filmed, I've shot them,
Yeah,
and just
edited
like
them.
it's not good enough out the window, you know. Which I'm sure people would still watch them, but it doesn't. You expect certain. I expect a certain quality for myself.
Do you ever get an opportunity to sort of take stock? So do you ever get an opportunity to sit back and go, bloody hell, like, look what I've achieved? And I say that in a sense because, like, I know what it's like just for this podcast, for example. And obviously I previously did upload really regularly, and it sort of never ends. So when you're uploading once or twice a week in any capacity, you're just on to the next. You don't really get to sit back and take stock because you're then working straight onto the next thing. So for you to upload every 4 days, 3 to 4 days, surely you never get an opportunity to go, oh, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I like to be busy. I don't like to be idle, you know.
Yeah.
Like, so to me, it is hard. The hardest graft is, like I said to you last time, when you know I'm away filming for 2 weeks straight. You know, that's the hardest time. But at the same time, the most enjoyable, I guess. But you still have moments of the day when, you know, I'm not working every single second of the day. So there are times when I think, especially like last month and the month before, when the views were just astronomical. I remember just thinking, whoa, shit, that's like. And it's very rare that I think that. I just kind of just go about my business, try to do something that I think is creative, and I don't worry about the numbers.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this before, a lot of creators will spend all the time like looking at the analytics. How many views am I getting? Oh, I didn't get enough views. I better change the thumbnail and all this shit.
Yeah.
Whereas I just kind of create stuff and I hope people like it. And if people tend to like it, but there are moments I'll be like, shit, that's loads of people, you know, that are actually watching the videos. So I'm grateful for it. But yeah, at the same time, it's not, I don't want to say it's a burden. It's not, but it's you get kind of concerned that people aren't maybe going to enjoy it because you feel a responsibility, especially when you've got an audience, a real kind of large sub base, right, that love what you do, and you get messages all the time saying, oh, I'm looking forward to this week's video, or I've had a rough week at work and that video was great. You feel the responsibility, like I guess people that make films or TV shows do, to be like, well, this needs to be good because these people want to see this. So if you do a video which you think is not as good as it could be, yeah, that's when I don't feel guilt maybe, but I maybe it is a type of guilt. I'll be like, oh, fucking hell, that was a bit wank, you know?
I think it's interesting that outside looking in, you just look at it and go, right, it's a dude making videos on YouTube eating. So that is it, innit? Like, let's say it takes you, you know, an hour to film it and, you know, a couple of hours to edit it, and you've done for a week and you can just sort of toss it off. But the level of videos that you produce, at the quality that you produce them, obviously takes, you know, tens of hours a week. So every video might take 30 hours, 30 hours, twice a week, 60 hours. That's more than most people work a regular job. Are you surprised? You're probably not, but are you surprised at the level of like mastery you've got in production now? So, and I say that, and it's true. If you think about it, like they say the 10,000 hours, don't they? 10,000 hours is sort of like you're a master of your craft.
Yeah.
You've certainly probably exceeded that now. If you think 7 years at potentially 60, 70 hours a week, that's in editing time, so not to mention the filming.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't always that. I mean, a lot of my earlier videos were dog shit, and they used to edit them in like 4 hours or something. But I don't think you ever really master your craft. You always, even the best people, whatever they do, they always try to improve. But I'm glad, I'm kind of happy with the fact that I'm happy and unhappy at the same time that I have a formula that works, right? You just try and finesse that. You know, you land on something over time that works, right? And people say, well, you often I look at my own content and think it's formulaic, but that isn't always a bad thing. Coronation Street is formulaic, but there's a reason it's been around for 60 years, right? And that people like want to watch it. Nobody's going to watch a video where they introduce like slow-mo fight scenes between Ken Barlow and fucking Roy Cropper, right? Although that does sound cool now I mentioned it. But there's always for me, what I would like to do is experiment more with form, but in doing that, you kind of lose... You risk losing what people love about your show, if you will, you know. But yeah, I never really think I've mastered it. There's always stuff that I want to improve on, you know, and to try and make the videos better.
But when you look at editing, then obviously when you first started out, you said it took you 4 hours. Like, do you remember like editing your first video and going like, what am I looking at? What were you on iMovie or what did you use?
Yeah, I was on iMovie. Yeah. I had one of those like, do you remember those little kind of Mac Minis? I don't even know if they called them Mac Minis. They didn't come with a monitor. It was like a
the
rounded square box, and
you
you put them into like a plugged them into any
Screen.
monitor you wanted, and you got like a little wireless mouse separately. Yeah, it was like that on iMovie. Now I don't even know what my first camera was. It was a Sony. I remember that. And yeah, but at the start it was different because it was just like a laugh, right? I was just like I've said tons of times, I was just recording stuff because I thought it'd be fun to show like my friends, family, whatever. It was never in the forefront of my mind that I am making content here or I'm making something that's supposed to entertain people. And that's something which has shifted so much over, even from like last year. I mean, it was still like a year ago, I was still specifically making content.
Yeah.
But even now it's more like, when I shoot, like the thing that's forefront in my mind is how can I make this entertaining? Not the last thing on my mind, weird as it sounds, is the food.
Yeah.
Like that's food's cold. It's funny when I go to restaurants and they'll be like, get started, food's gonna be cold. I'm like, I don't really give a shit, mate. The video needs to be, that's the most important thing. So I need to get all the shots and all that stuff. So it's totally different. So now it's color grading, shooting everything in log, making sure the frame rate. The first time I'd shot a video, everything would have been automatic, probably like out of focus, and it would have looked dog shit. But like now I try and get the technical side as right as I can. But I still fuck up. Like matching color on three different cameras is not easy. But
I just think you're a sucker for punishment for that, like, because there is ways to mitigate that, of which you choose to do none of them.
I know nobody cares though. That's why YouTube.
No, but
is
you
such
care.
A funny,
Like that's a funny thing.
I care to a point though. But if I'm telling you now, I don't really give a shit if they're slightly out.
Yeah.
Because I know that people on YouTube don't give a shit. I just told you about that the video with you eat the burger or you get spanked.
Yeah.
That I've been talking about that for weeks. It took me like 40 hours to make, and which was, I don't know, 30% longer than the previous video, which performed way better. So it's good and bad. And YouTube's kind of a really forgiving platform, and that people don't expect top quality content. They don't expect top quality editing, I should say. Even if you look at videos like Mr. Beast, he's got a full crew behind him. They're not like, there's no slick arty shots in there. It's like a TV show, and I'm not knocking that. Same with Randy. Randy's are like, they're shot on a camcorder, for God's sake. There's nothing wrong with that. But it depends what you're into. Like if you want to have some kind of stylized element to your videos, then you have to accept that with that comes technical difficulties, but people genuinely don't really care. No,
yeah, I get what you're saying. I think there's a bit contradictory to what you have just said. It's like Mr. Beast videos. They'll make elements of technically not correct decisions for the sake of for their algorithm. So for their perception of what performs well. Yeah. Obviously they're like a beat a minute out there. They're trying to switch camera angles, it's a sensory overload.
You could learn a lot from that though. People that are trying to get started in YouTube, there's a reason he does that. But
there's people. Channels like him, like the dude Paddy Galloway who works on his channel. He breaks down. I'm surprised he hasn't broken down you actually, like done a breakdown of your style and said, well, why is it working? Because it'd be interesting to see what he actually comes up with as pros and cons. But obviously you've found a style that works for you. Do you remember at a point where?
This feels like an interrogation, especially with the light above.
Do you remember a point where you thought, right, I'm onto something here? Like, do you remember the point where you went, I can make a go of this? Like, I'm onto something. Or was it just a happy accident?
At the risk of destroying your line of questioning, no, I never really thought I'm onto something here. That's the good thing though about everyone that starts a YouTube channel or people that are even just doing YouTube now, they want that like massive growth. They're all like, we need this viral video.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, I'm very happy that the way that my channel grew was really, really slow. I've been doing this 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's only really now that it's reached the level that I consider, I've always thought it was successful, but like when I look at channels, they get 1 million views every time. That to me is, you're in like the real kind of cream of the crop there almost, because that doesn't happen to that many people, So, but because the channel grew so slow, it allowed you to kind of finesse things, and it wasn't just people joining for that one video because they saw this extreme thing or whatever. It was just a cultivation of an audience over time, and that kind of helps you. But because of that, I never really thought, I'm on something now. It was all just my goal was just to try and make things better over time.
George, you need to that monologue there. You need to clip that and share that. We need to share that in some capacity for creators that are like considering coming up, because it's such a valid point. Is that people, you see explosive growth on channels. It could be a shout out. It could be anything. Like Peter McKinnon. So McKinnon's shouted out a bunch of different creators, and you see them like skyrocket. They might get 100,000 overnight, 200,000 overnight. They all just drop straight back off again, because it's an unnatural thing to do, and that's to be fair, it's like a curse for your channel.
Yeah.
If you get shouted out by someone that They're not there for you. They're there for the guest. And then they'll go, actually, I'm not that asked about you.
Yeah.
It'll bring the worst thing for your channel, and also the worst comments. Like if we look at just the podcast we said about the Randy and the Katina, and this is a prime example. Like we've slowly, like, you know, in the grand scheme of things, slowly grown over a year of steady. You know, we started out with like 500 views a video or listens, to 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000. We're probably like 5,000 now. On average, I would say 5,000 or 6,000 views, and same for listens. And there's the outliers, you know, where you've got the guests, and the ones where we have got the guests, it brings the most fucking hate because you've got the ones that are not in our circle. So our audience is our circle, and the new guest comes and brings this like all Randy and Katina's lot, and they're like, "You two are a pair of pricks. You're talking over Katina."
Yeah,
not knowing that the formula for what we do is actually they're just with us. We're not like trying to interview them.
Yeah,
so that's a small example of that, innit? You know,
shout outs do you no good, man. I've been. I mean, he doesn't shout you out, but I've been on like one of, I think 4 or 5 of Mr. Beast's reaction videos. I don't want to be on there. If I could say no, don't use that, I would.
Keep my name out your motherfucking mouth. Keep my beard's name.
But I get that still now. Like, can you give me a shout out for my channel?
Yeah.
No, mate. But why wouldn't you give me a shout out? Well, because I'm happy to, like, if you've got questions about YouTube, if I'll try and help as much as I can. If I can reply to messages and whatnot, I try to get back to as many as I can. But if I give you a shout out now and you've got 3 videos on your channel, and you do something entirely different to each other, how is that going to help you? It's not going to help you. And you might be, I think it comes down to like people and their personality, and certainly like in present day, people want things overnight, don't they?
Yeah.
Like you would think that it'd be a good thing. Somebody said you could start a channel now and you'll have 10,000 subs overnight. You'd be like, oh yeah, quality. But are they high value? Are they going to come back and actually watch what you're doing? Or are they just, you know, there's a real value in growing an audience slowly over time. And I know people don't want to hear that, but that's
even right. So like, you put that in the regular world, like promotions, jobs, like job progression, anything, business, right? So a good example of this actually is, so when I first started making videos 5 years ago, started a business, and now we're 5 years past and we're working for like really big clients, you know, high risk, like big names, big money, not big money, but half decent money.
Yeah, big money. I know. I see your car.
I see you guys. I mean, I drive a van.
and your van, yeah.
But a prime example, we were in the office the other day, and a couple of weeks ago when we got the Aunt Milton gig, so the Aunt Milton podcast, and Tommy said to me, he's like, "Oh, you should be you should be chuffed, you know, you should, like, well done, congrats, like pop over some champagne or something." I'm like, "Well, we're going to champagne," but I said, "No, like
pop the breaking beans."
Yeah, pop the breaking beans. I said, "No, like, this is right. I should be doing this now. Like, I've spent 5 years like grafting, you know, through the sort of like hierarchy of shoots to this. So like, if anyone should do it, I should now be doing it because I've honed the craft and what we do to the point where I can produce exactly what it wants. If that job had come to me 3 years ago, would I have said yes? Probably. Would I have fucked it up? Probably.
Probably. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's a relative to what you're saying, you know, like if you get that shout out early and you're not prepared and you haven't got the skill set or the foresight to be able to ride the wave, that's going to be worse for you. It's because you've got further to fall.
Yeah, I like the whole like, but you still get those now, you know, like if you watch these kind of YouTube tutorial channels, you know, like I'm not knocking Think Media, right? They give some great advice about, you know, budget kit and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you always see them like peddling, like, oh, do more collabs. Why? I fucking hate collab videos unless it's with a friend, because there's going to be like some, you know, otherwise it looks like a very clear contrivance.
Yeah.
Like I am going on this person's channel so I can then get exposed to their audience and they can watch me. Just build your own audience because it cheapens what you do. I'm not saying you can't do, quotes, collaborations if you're not, you know, if your time isn't so short, you can actually say a full word. But you can play that Adam Morant's jingle now, George. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where I was going with that, but just focus on, this isn't like an advice podcast, but if you are starting a YouTube channel, get started, but just like realize that it's going to be slow growth, and that's a good thing, you know? A bit like when, you know, people do gear at the gym, you don't want to go from being completely untrained to bashing bags of like test and D-ball and getting like giant overnight, and then you end up tearing a pec because you're not ready for the, you know, like the stress of it. Just enjoy the journey. It sounds cheesy, but enjoying the journey is part of like what makes life.
Whoa, that was
Almost philosophical.
That was half inspirational. That I can imagine if Gary Vee or somebody had done that, we could put some like subtle music behind it. That'd almost be inspirational. But because you did it in such an angry voice, I don't think it's going to inspire many people.
I think it's because I see it all the time, and I just kind of want to say to people, like, man, just chill, man, chill.
All right. So on the flip side, then, so like you've been grafting for 7 years, rafting, working hard. The man's beating you down. Have you ever got to the
Man's beating me down.
Have you ever got to the point of like burnout? So we hear burnout a lot in the creator space, in the world space.
They love that buzzword, don't they?
Burnout. Have you ever reached the point of?
Do you remember that video game Super Burnout 3 or whatever it was? That's what I think of when I hear the word burnout. But I'm old, you know. I remember old video games. No, you don't get. It depends on how frequently you're making videos, right? If you're making one of these daily vlog channels, yeah, because you're gonna resent making content because you're doing it so frequently.
Yeah.
And you might compromise quality again unless you're Casey Neistat, who we seem to mention in every podcast.
He's back. He's back. I'm so fucking happy. He's back.
Yeah, man. But do you see that one where we started the episode with, like, it was a while back now, but we started with like the camera on the ground, like, and it was obviously propped up, so it was wonky. So it was like on purpose, it wasn't level.
Yeah.
And just, that's such a case. I was watching that.
I thought there was more to that.
I remember watching it thinking, that's cool. But like, if I'd open a video like that, it's going to be like, oh, you nicked this off Casey Neistat, because I would have done. But I just thought it was a cool way to start. He's full of stuff like that. He's a filmmaker, for God's sake. But you know, I think there are times, I wouldn't call it burnout, but there are times when you enjoy what you're doing less because for any number of reasons, you know, it could be anything that's going on in your personal life. You might be spending too much time editing and time away from your family. That's a big thing for me. Like my mum, my sister, oh, you never come see us, yeah, because I'm always working, you know. But that comes down to your own choice. You don't have to. It depends on how frequently you want to make videos and how much effort you want to put into them.
But like, you know what level of work it takes to even find some sort of like a glimpse of success. Like, and it's easy for your family to sort of look out for your welfare, as it were, and be like, oh, you should, you know, take a break, come and see us more. My uncle said the same thing to me, like when I sort of first started out, like probably about 2 or 3 years into it. It's like, you need to slow down, you know. And I'm like, you don't like, no, like I don't. I've got to carry on, because like if there's a glimpse of a wave to go, I need to go. Like I can't. You can't take the foot off the gas. And bless him, like he didn't understand. It's
hard though as well, because the majority of people are not self-employed, right?
Yeah.
Most people have jobs, right? And it's a totally different mindset. So even if you have to do something daft for a job like me, I'm essentially self-employed, so you can't rely on anyone else. It's not like you just wake up in the morning, you get your pay packet as long as you go in and do like the bare minimum. Not that I'm saying people that have jobs do that, but I'm just saying that
you can do it some days though, can't you? You can just go in and do like your job.
I hated my old job. I fucking despised it, but and I was good at it, right? I never shirked responsibility or whatever. Yeah. But there are days you go in, and even just because if work volume is lower than usual, you might, this is a steady day. I've not really done much today. I've had a few coffees, chatted with a couple of people around the office, done a couple of spreadsheets, given somebody a bollocking or two, and then I've gone home, right? Whereas you're always on the clock to some degree if you're self-employed, and you're always conscious of the more work you put in, generally, the more favourable the outcome.
Yeah.
And you can get addicted to that though. You can be like, I could go in and be like, I need to make 3 videos a week, work 100 hours a week, get fat. But that comes down to like, you can make too many videos.
Yeah, sort of a balance, as it were. Like, I get that. And it's same on my side. Like, it's further to fall in when you've got staff and you've got premises, and it's that's pretty terrifying. It can be terrifying at times.
I wouldn't want staff. You got to rely on people like George.
George has put a shift in.
Fucking knock it out of the park. What are you talking about?
How much
you would try? You just like for a second. I'll wake you up.
You're right over there, mate.
I can't blame him. We've been talking about boring shit today.
I think people find it. Well, I'd like to think people will find it interesting.
People like you and me maybe find it interesting. The average person, I don't think it does. Well, but maybe they will.
Let us know in the comments if any questions from you, George.
Any questions from me?
Yeah,
it was also, remember, a YouTube creator.
Oh. Yeah.
Let's give George that shout out.
Excuse for. Have you got plans for like exiting YouTube? Like, what would you do after?
You're trying to retire
I'm
me?
not trying to like say, are you finishing or you're retiring? But I'm just sort of more like, what would you do after?
Do you have a plan? No, people ask me that quite a lot. I don't have a plan. Should have, but I've never had a plan in life.
Are you just gonna get a yacht and just chill?
That's a joke. People say, "What do you do with your t-shirts?" And I always say, like, I'm gonna get them made into, sew them together into a big sail, and just, that's going to be my last video. I'm just going to sail off into sunset. And yeah, I can't sail, so I don't know. But maybe I should go off with you, Josh, if your wife will let you. You can get me started. You've been at sea. What's what I meant, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to sail.
Not that we were going to sail off into sunset together.
You can get me started, right? Then you jump off the ship and you swim back to sea, and I just then drift around for ages. But no, I don't really have a plan for it. But I'm not really looking at. I don't know what I'd do. It's a bit like, you know, do you see Tyson? I mean, I don't want to get on the Tyson Fury tangent, but I saw
Adam Morantz.
Obviously, he posts a lot, right? But I saw he posted something on Twitter this week saying he didn't know how to give up the fight game or something like that. And you can relate to that, can't you? Because I don't know, like, what would I do, like, if I stopped making videos?
Yeah,
I'd have to put my energy into something else, because otherwise you go bonkers, don't you?
Yeah, could you imagine you went cold turkey? Imagine YouTube delete your channel tomorrow. Will you start again?
No, because I know the amount of work and graft that it takes to build like a channel. I think I'd probably take that as some kind of sign from the gods that it's my time to end. I'd thank everyone on my social medias, media channels and whatnot. Yeah. And I'd probably just try and do something else. I don't know what I would do, but
what a fascinating thought as to what Adam would do post YouTube.
I really don't know. I've not really thought about it. Like, I keep telling you, like, before I even consider that, I want to at least get to the 10-year anniversary of the channel, which would be 2 years this January. So it'd be like January 2025.
Right.
Which would be like the official 10-year anniversary. Do some fucking mad video, and then I'm not saying I would quit then, but I want to at least get to that point, because I think that's kind of a cool milestone to be around for 10 years on YouTube. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Doing something as fucking stupid as I do.
I saw a headline recently saying that Mr. Beast wanted his last video to be his death. Did you see that?
But that tells you, like, everything. And this is not, I'm not criticizing him. He is obsessed. That dude is, like, so obsessed with YouTube creating.
Yeah.
That I can see that. Because, in fact, didn't your mate Paddy Galloway say something like, you don't understand how obsessed this dude is with you. And he wants to be the biggest YouTuber ever. Yeah. And that's an aspiration. I'm not knocking that. But I'm different. And I think I'm level-headed enough to, I don't want my entire life to be defined by YouTube, right? Although it is, but if it was deleted tomorrow, of course I'd be upset. I'd be upset that I don't, but it wouldn't be that I'm upset that the channel is gone. It would be almost like I'm upset that I can't reach these people who, you know, I've enjoyed what I do, you know.
Yeah.
It would be the upsetting thing, but it wouldn't be. I wouldn't go and hang myself, you know, like, because my YouTube channel's dead. Like,
yeah, of course, yeah.
I'd be like, that was a great.
But that goes to show that even though it's a massive part of your life, it is not everything. Whereas, like, that's the terrifying part about the Mr. Beast thing. It is like, it is all consuming. Like, there is nothing outside of that. Which
that's not just a YouTube thing, though, is it? What you think about, there's so many people that are defined by, like, I think we often mention bodybuilding and stuff like that, or even any kind of sport. Like, there are people that, like, they've lived.
That's why I gave up on bodybuilding, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just taking over my life, you know.
Do you want to just, like, still do it like some kind of level? No, I'm joking. No, but like, anyone that does, I think anyone does something which is so unique, so unusual, but that they are really invested in. Often get that. So you get footballers who get real, you know, any kind of athlete gets depression after they quit. Because they can't hack leaving it. And I understand that at some level, I think, you know.
Yeah, I do understand that. Do you, in the whole space then of the 7 years, have you got any regrets, like, from the experience?
Well, I didn't particularly enjoy shitting my pants 2 years ago in Canada. I think life's too short for regrets, man. There are things that I regret in life. None of them really are
related to YouTube.
There are things I would change, maybe. But then I think that whole butterfly effect thing, would it be worth
Give us
changing?
an example then. Or can you?
I think I would more quickly...
Stop stuttering.
I know.
Listen to Bacon, or whatever it's called.
If I talked slower, I probably wouldn't stutter as much. But if I knew this is where I would be in 7 years when I started, I wouldn't straight away be like, okay, I need to get some better kit, learn how to shoot videos better. And that way I could have produced better quality videos, which is a factor in growing a sub base earlier on, right? And I would have probably gone in earlier on. I would start this whole thing earlier on. You know, like, maybe I would have started the whole YouTube thing if I knew this is how it would pan out 5 years earlier, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then I think if I had done that, I can't tell that the kind of whole
hindsight's 2020, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know that maybe the channel wouldn't have grown in the way, maybe sensibilities would be different, maybe people wouldn't have enjoyed it as much if I start. So there are very few things I would change in life, certainly around YouTube.
What's the most fun you've had? Like, what is there any standout moments as like the most fun, most exciting parts of being a creator, just generally, like?
There are lots of things that come with it, I think, which are nice, which are it sounds cheesy. To me, it's like when you meet people, I think, or you get interactions with people who say that your content means something to them.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's like, I always used to think when I was a kid, I was really into music, I'd be like, it must be ace to, like if you're a band, Blink-182, who just
How exciting is that?
They're coming.
I'm not that excited. Right, it's nice to see them back together and all friends again, but I'm not really that excited for new music because I think it's part of you leaves that. Like we've talked about when we did the music episode, you leave some bands behind. But I mean, I love Blink. They were the gateway band.
I'd love to see that they can prove us wrong with if they've got a new album and they've gone, old school, gone back to basics. Like imagine that.
But Tom posted, didn't he, saying we've made the best record of our lives, and I fully believe that but I think best record for Tom DeLonge now is probably different to best record circa Enema of the States, Enema of the State. And what are they going to be singing about? And it can't be the same because they're not going to be singing about like shitting yourself at school or like not being able to get a boner or whatever they were singing about back then. But anyway, I'll definitely listen to it. Yeah. I'll buy it probably, and hope it's cool. I might go see them at that. I reckon they might do like Leeds. No, I won't go. I'm lying. I'm not going to go. But it's a good thing. What I was getting at though is if you're in a band, imagine you're playing like a big festival, and you've got how many people in the crowd at say Leeds Fest on the main headline at night?
I couldn't even guess.
I don't know. I don't know how many are probably watching the main band, but 70,000, let's say. I don't think it's that many, but like
not for 1975, they're in.
But like what I'm getting at,
80,000 fans.
80,000 in a long rambly fashion. What I'm getting at is imagine you're on that stage. You've written the song, you finessed it, you recorded it, and you're playing this song at a massive gig, and you've got 80,000 people singing your song back at you.
Yeah.
Imagine how gratifying that is for some users artistically minded, And it's not the same, right? But for me, it's if I get a message from somebody or I meet someone in the street and they're like, oh, I love that video, mate. Or they talk about a video I don't remember. Yeah. Remember that time in that thing? I'll be like, oh, yeah, I really enjoyed that, mate. It was great. That's the best thing I think about being somebody who makes YouTube content. But there are other cool things that come with it, like, I don't know, top of my head, but like you get...
the dick pics in your DM.
No, I don't get. I probably would enjoy more dick pics. I've not had one.
You're gonna make a rod for you're gonna make a boner for your own back there, mate.
Like a pure wave of dick pics now. Don't send me dick pics. I was
if
trying
you
to
do,
be
just
humorous.
make sure you keep them to. Don't put them in our group chat, please.
I'm definitely doing that now because it's your fault. That was just a bit of levity. Don't send me dick pics. But,
that's funny. That's so funny.
Yeah, no, there are. I mean, I remember back in the day when I did that Japanese TV show. I don't like working on TV, but because that was like a really wild experience. That was fun.
Yeah,
and even just doing stuff like is unique to the type of content I make. But doing stuff like eating contests like Nathan's in front. Those are probably standouts. But the best thing I've done is the garlic bread song for me. That's the for me again. Like Smith was really into music when I was a kid. To just do a daft song and have like whatever 200,000 people buy it. Or stream it or whatever.
Yeah, it's still going, man. It's like 400,000 views now, that video, I think.
Is it? Yeah.
More, probably.
But even like when I look on Spotify and see the streams and or on Apple Music and see the purchases, I'm like, I get people did it for charity, right? But it's still just nice that people talk to me about some stupid song that I wrote and that we record that video for and had a laugh. So there's loads of cool stuff that comes with creating like that.
We peaked too early with Garlic Bread song though. That's what I feel like. Chicken wings were good. But garlic bread was...
You could never top it though.
That was your first love on it,
Garlic bread was like a bolt from the gods though, because it was like one of those kind of like nursery rhyme style catchy garlic bread. But it almost felt like a duty to do another one, but like it can never be as good.
Even the video, man, like the video, to say that it was quite literally shot in like an asbestos-filled like warehouse in Cleckheaton.
That's why it's pain in my lung now.
Deep into winter, we're freezing, and somehow we pulled off the four beards. That's the lightning has only struck once. I don't think we could recreate that. in such stringent circumstances. Like it was an evening. We had a couple of hours.
Yeah, like the whole production of that was like the song and the video was like it was so budget, so discount that like. But yeah, I mean, there's loads of cool stuff that comes with creating stuff successfully, but it's mostly the reaction of people that like what you do. For me, anyway.
Next question then: Why this podcast? And this isn't actually it's not on the notes, but why did you want to do a podcast? Because this was your idea. It weren't my idea.
I don't know if it was my idea. It was more like a brain fart. I said to you one day, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool just to do a podcast because we talk loads of shit?" And you were like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Oh fuck it, go on then."
Yeah, but there were a couple of conversations. I remember you've sort of said it in passing a couple of times, and I sort of dismissed it. So I'm busy. You are really busy. I'm like, listen, that's not going to happen, is it? And then it sort of did happen.
Yeah, but I know that you're what's the word? I don't want to say facilitator because that sounds almost like a bad thing. But like I know I couldn't have teed this up. I don't know enough about like sound processing. I could have probably set the cameras up and whatnot. But I know that you're like you're the problem solver of the two of us, right? So you're like the Paul chuckle to my Barry chuckle. So like I knew that you could, if we were gonna do it, it would be with. If I was going to do it with anyone, it would be with you, unless I got asked by like some already pre-existing podcast to come on as like a co-host. So, but I thought it'd be a laugh, you know. You want to do. For me, I always want to be doing stuff. Yeah. So I just threw it out there, and you were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I just thought, "What's the worst that can happen?" I know what it's like to start doing something that you don't think is going to go anywhere. It was the same with my channel. So if nobody watches this, or people start watching now, it's not going to be. I'm not going to get affected by it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the funny side of it. I guess we'd known each other for a good few years before this started, so that leads to us being able to have conversations like this with no. I don't know. There's no sort of grief behind. Not grief, but you know, like when you interview somebody, there's a bit of pressure, and like now, especially now, you're at fucking 2 million subscribers. Like I met you only 200,000, which at the time was massive. Yeah.
I was driving past that place you used to work actually the other day. Yeah.
So yeah, 200,000 subscribers, 5 years ago? And now you're at 2 million.
Is that when it was? I've known you for 5 years.
Yeah.
Fuck almighty.
5 years of your life you'll never get back.
I know.
Tell me about it. And George and I know how awkward you are, so I actually think it's fucking remarkable that we somehow became friends.
It is. Not a lot of people can, not a lot of people can tolerate me. I'm eating my own hair.
But yeah, how do you see this progressing? Like,
I don't know.
What do you think about this podcast?
I think we'll still be recycling talking points in a year's time. I don't know. It's just fun for me. There's no pressure. This is a part. There are two things that this podcast does for me. One, it feels a bit like going to work. I'm going to the office today. I can see other human beings, not just myself, and occasionally Mrs. Beard when she's at home. But at the same time, it's fun, right? It's something which isn't just looking at fucking footage of myself all day long, eating food, and I'm like, oh my God. There is a point at which that becomes certainly monotonous. So to me, this is just something outside that, which is fun, and especially when we get, not only when we get the guests on, but if we get a guest on, that's fun. Like when we had Honor on, or I love like hearing about people with, fun stories and having a laugh about anything really. But even when it's just the two of us, I think we just like talking, right? Yeah, so why not record it?
I think it's mad to look at the numbers, considering that again it's slow growth in a way. Like, you know, it's a year of week in, week out uploading, plus clips, plus all the social media. Like it's a churn. You know, it's a churn of content.
Have you changed the name of the clips channel yet to Breaking Breadcrumbs? Fuck! Come on, man. That was a great idea. It wasn't our idea, but it was an idea.
We will change it, but it is pretty amazing that we're a year into it, and I bet by the time, so the year anniversary is actually on the night of the live show. That's why it's there. Like it's almost like a 1 year anniversary as well.
We're going to get spangled.
We're going to get.
Have a few beers beforehand.
I spoke to James, who's the guy that's going to be doing like the sort of production switching, because that's a bit out of our remit. And I said, what's the limit? Like, how many beers do you think you should have? And he's like, 1. I'm like, before you go on stage, it's like 1, and maybe have a shandy on stage. And I'm thinking, and I don't drink, but I'm thinking, nah, you can probably have more than 1 or 2.
I don't know if it's like, I had this cocktail the other day. Lindsay and I filmed this video, you know, that we filmed like a full day video because people keep asking for it. Yeah. And she got me this cocktail called a Flaming Zombie. And it was really nice. I had 2 of them. And you know, when you step outside and you're like, fuck.
Whoa.
I am actually a little bit drunk after 2 cocktails, so I'll probably go like teetotal until
Was
afterwards.
That where she got 2 garlic breads for a tea?
Yeah, did she post that on Instagram?
Yeah, on Instagram, yeah.
Fucking, I think I had 2 slices as well. She absolutely battered them, and she'd done like fish and chips that morning.
Really? Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa, are you in training?" I keep joking about her doing Nathan's because she will eat hot dog. I know he said sausages. will eat hot dogs, but she probably wouldn't eat Nathan's. But I'm like, you could probably come and try and qualify. That'd be a laugh if we did the qualifier at the same time. But yeah,
when
she
she
ate a lot.
when she takes the sausage out and just eats the bread. That's what it'd be, wouldn't it?
Just leaves them all the sausages at the end.
I think it's gonna be, like, the live show is gonna be funny if we do, like, I'm gonna have to have a couple of beers, but I think if we start loosening off on stage and we're chatting to the crowd, I think it's gonna be a right good night.
I don't want to don't you get too loose. I know you kind of you might say something you regret.
We'll confiscate all phones.
That's what I'm
beforehand.
thinking. Yeah, you confiscate the phones on the way.
But we can't have too many drinks because we've got to end the show, don't we, George? We've got to end the show.
Yeah, we do.
So
And there was something special.
make sure that I don't get too tipsy on that gig.
It'd be a laugh. It'd be great to on a serious note. It would be really, really nice from my perspective to see how many tickets we sold, like 100 or something.
Yeah.
To see
So
100 people that listen/watch.
Yeah,
Listen to or watch
the capacity is somewhere between 150 and 200. So we're sort of like, I think it might be 150. So we're reaching capacity.
So limited tickets available. Get them while you can.
Get the marketeer in the corner. But could you imagine looking out at 150 people?
Yeah, I mean, I could.
I can imagine being you're in a cinema and it's full and you're looking, you go, all right, yeah, there's a bunch of people in here. But to be on stage looking out at the people, that's going to be weird.
Yeah, I think it.
I mean,
yeah,
you've seen it. Obviously, you've done Nathan's and things.
Yeah, but
they weren't there for you.
Everyone's looking at Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, I think in a way it might be intimidating, but I'm not intimidated by it. These days, man.
He's dead inside.
No,
He's numb.
You can't improve as a. This is really philosophical. You can't improve or get better as a human if you don't fail at things.
Yeah.
So like, you have to be willing to fail at shit. So if as long as people are entertained and they don't go away thinking, fucking hell, that was a waste of money.
Yeah.
I'm content, regardless of how foolish we might look.
I like it. That's wise words there from Mr. Beard. George, I hear you've got a new segment for us.
We do. We're going to do a new segment on the live show, so I figured we might as well slide it into a podcast before.
Slip it in, mate. Slip it in.
So that people know what the crack is.
What is it with sexual
You know what it is? I've spent too much time with Brian Lacey, innit?
Yeah.
Like Brian's exactly. Yeah, I've
He's
spent
like
too much
that.
time with Brian. Go on then. Let's have it. Let's get it.
So You Bred My Mind is basically a take on the Mr. and Mrs. game that we're going to play together. So I've got a couple of questions related to Josh and a couple of questions related to Adam. And then you guys are just going to write your answers on a piece of paper. And if you get them right, then you win fuck all.
Nice.
You don't have to eat a scorpion.
Don't mention the
Yeah,
scorpion.
no scorpions here.
Right, hit me.
So, first question is related to Josh. How old was Josh when he joined the Navy?
Fuck me, I don't even know how old he is now.
It's just like, you remember on Bad Boys when he comes to the door and he's like, how old is you, Reggie? I'm 16, sir. Motherfucker, you look 40.
Do I say it or just write it down?
We'll hold it up to the
Oh, you need to
camera.
go bigger. You need to write it big. I'm right on the bench, so it doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
matter.
Can't bend, man.
Ready? So this is when Adam thinks that I joined.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
How old you were?
All right.
26.
How old are you now?
That was
Are you
miles
fucking
off.
broken?
How old are you?
How old do you think I am? I'm not as old as your old ass.
I don't know.
I did fucking 8 years. And I've done this for 5, so
I don't
8
even-
plus 5 is 13. So that'd make me 39 by your numbers. I'm 29. I'm 30 in December, mate.
It's a 20. I just drew the 6 wrong. I don't know why I said that. I wasn't thinking. That was a warm-up question.
So the next one's related to Adam. What year did BeardMeatsFood post his first video to YouTube?
Oh, I should be able to figure this out. 'Cause
Basically
he
just told you,
he just said like January or October. January.
I don't know. Did he?
7
did
years.
we say it in this episode? Like the year?
Yeah, no. So
That's what I'm looking
10
for.
years in 2025. So 15. January 15. I'm going 2015.
There you go.
You even got the month right.
Yeah.
Because I told you 20 minutes earlier in the podcast.
What a time to be alive.
Just checking.
I'm gonna have to use your pen in a minute. Like this is how cheap we are. Fucking pens run out.
Right, I'm determined to do.
Go on, next
So the
one.
next one for Josh. What year did Josh post his first video to YouTube?
All right, you write your thing down. Now. I'll give us a pen. I'll write mine down whilst you think.
How clammy are your hands, man? What the fuck's wrong with you?
How do you mean? I didn't even touch you.
You did touch me.
touch
they're
you.
that cold that you couldn't even feel yourself touching my hands.
Jesus, I thought I touched a dead body actually.
No, your hands are really like. There's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you.
Right, I'm gonna have to go find a doctor. Something wrong with my hands.
You got the hands of a person in what they call it. You know, when you're recovering from drug addiction and you get like sweats and stuff in your withdrawal. That's what.
Because you're dead inside, mate. Although that feels a
Shut
bit
the fuck
sweaty, does that?
Right, what was it?
What year did Josh post his first video to YouTube?
We're talking on Josh's channel.
Josh Gudgeon channel.
And the video is not there anymore. So
What? So he gets the easy. So, you know, 2022.
Can we fill in the gaps with some music?
Are we revealing?
Yeah.
Show. Oh, spot on. 2017.
Oh, did you get it right? Nice.
Fuck you.
Yeah, them videos are well hidden.
What was the first video?
Bloke falling off his motorbike.
No, that must have been a couple of years after that. That would have been like 2019 probably.
Oh.
That was 2018. It were vlogs. To be fair, I was trying to mimic Casey Neistat style videos. That's how I tried to learn how to edit. I was trying to figure out like how he edited.
I crashed my drone in Morley town centre. The mean streets of Morley.
Yeah.
So
All right.
next one. What is BeardMeatsFood's most viewed video? I mean, you don't have to get the title spot on, but
Yeah, you
just generally what
So
it
just
is.
describe the food. We'll give
Yeah.
him it. Right.
Okay. Must be a long sentence.
Well, I just want to give like clarity around.
Okay. I think it's the.
I'm getting high off the felt tip.
Uh-huh.
There's a kid at my high school used to just go around sniffing felt like pure. He's dead now. Poor kid.
Fucking
You
hell.
mentioned that on podcast, didn't you?
You know, yeah,
Yeah, I
he was
think
found
you
like
mentioned
naked in his garden after sniffing a fucking Pritt stick or something. And, no, probably couldn't. That probably couldn't kill you, could it?
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at more like that. This is actually coming out in conversation because people.
Sorry,
I was laughing last week at killing them birds in France, but I wasn't laughing at the killing of the birds. It was
We
just
did say that. We said
Yeah.
we were laughing at the absurdity of the fact that we both killed birds accidentally. The winged mammal.
All right,
So let's
hold
go.
it up.
Barbecue pit tray. What does yours say?
Oh, that's a bit like a bit vague. That which one are you talking about?
The one where the thumbnail is just a barbecue pit tray.
Yeah, he's got it right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, what did you write down?
Because I've done a couple of
Oh,
barbecue
right.
challenges.
Yeah. Ah, look at that, eh?
Well done.
I'm your number one fan. Right, any more questions?
Yeah. So next one for Josh.
This is the final one.
Final one for Josh. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu you do, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what belt does Josh have in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
You should get this, mate. I feel like I've lost any power that I had though. I've been off the mats for probably nearly 6 months now since I tore my LCL. I ain't gone back yet. Mental barriers.
I need to get
I want
back
to
to
get
it.
strangled by everybody. I might go ask my white belt back. I can say that because you don't know what the levels are.
We're ready to reveal.
Ready? Go.
I think that Josh is a purple belt at BJJ, but a black belt third dan at BJ's.
You're fucking
right?
dead wrong, no? That's wrong.
It's wrong.
Yeah, I'm a purple belt at blowjobs and a blue belt at jiu-jitsu.
Is there a purple belt?
Yeah, it's after blue.
Oh, so
so
it's
it goes
close.
white, blue, purple. Yeah.
So I think that your abilities are actually higher than they really are.
Yeah. I can talk a good game when I say I'm going to strangle you.
Yeah, I heard you at that event of the weekend, like, oh, get him in full mount, sprawl, mate, sprawl. What the fuck's he talking about?
I would try to educate you somewhat in because once it goes to the ground, you kind of you can lose interest
Get
a
a
little
bit
bit.
lost.
Yeah. Well,
I get what rear naked chokes are, and arm bars, and triangle. I get that now.
yeah. So we learned something this weekend. I enjoyed that. That was a fun game.
Well, there's one more.
right,
Last
sorry.
one for Adam. What was Adam's number one favourite movie from the movies list podcast that we did?
Oh my god.
Remember.
I can't actually remember. Everyone's listening going, it's this.
What was it? What was it now? Branson's Pickle Maker.
yeah.
It's the 30th anniversary of that film's release this weekend or next weekend, I think.
I'm going to go. I'm going to have to write down.
Watching it for Halloween.
I watch it probably 3 times a year, so maybe I won't watch it again for... But it is a great film. I want to get that suit that he wears. Did I say that before on the podcast? You know, the suit that he wears when he's a young Dracula. I want to get that made.
I'm going Branston's Dracula.
Branston's Dracula.
No. What is it?
Watchmen.
Oh, well, we're just not compatible, mate. I don't remember.
I think we figured that out by now. People say that every week in the comments.
Well, technically, Josh won that one, actually, because you got more right.
Give me the scorpion.
So, yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed that. That was a nice little chit-chat this week. Probably something a little bit different, I guess. Maybe a little bit more serious, but the usual waffle.
It was a bit technical, but the next episode will be good, probably.
Yeah.
Come back next week.
Join us next week. And this is probably one of the last opportunities that we can say, like, if you are wanting to come to the live show, you must get a ticket, because I think by the time this is released, it will be like the week of the show. So if you actually want to come and meet Adam...
I think it's the week after.
Meet whenever you're going to be running out. The chances are when this gets released, they might have sold out. So have a look. Yeah. Come meet Adam. Come meet Mrs. Beard. Come meet George. And hopefully we put on a bit of a show for you all. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, they got soft seats in Everyman as well.
Yeah, they're like sofas.
Yeah,
laid back, beers, drinks.
Looks pretty plush. I don't really like. I would never go there to watch. I mean, I don't go to cinemas anyway. But that it wouldn't. I find it a bit weird. It's a bit too homely. But for something like a podcast. A live podcast, it's
kind of a perfect venue, isn't it?
I see why you paid so much money for it now.
You can actually order food and have it while you watch the show as well.
Yeah, perfect. It's an extortionate amount of money, so please buy a ticket because we're definitely not going to make it.
Lad, we've been in the red for fucking 12 months of the year. What's the 1 more month?
I love it. Right, catch you on the next one. Peace! The time has finally come. We're taking this show on the road. For one night only, Beard Meats Food and myself are doing a live podcast at the Everyman Cinema in Leeds. The event will take place on the 28th of October at 8 p.m. We're going to have a couple of special guests, some interactive games that you can get involved in, and make sure you turn up with an empty stomach. You may need it. The ticket will grant you access to the show and to the official meet and greet afterwards. So even if the show's shit, you get to meet the little man himself. Tickets are available at breakingbreadpod.com or click the link below. We can't wait to see you there.